Meeting to order. Tuesday, January 18th, 7 p.m. City of Somerton regular council meeting. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which is stands one nation under God, and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya.
Present.
Vice Mayor Miguel Villalpando.
Present.
Councilmember Luis Galindo.
Present.
Councilmember Jesus Roldan.
Present.
Councilmember Martha Garcia. Councilmember Juan Castillo.
Present.
Councilmember Lorena Sendejas.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on, call to the public. Anybody from the public wishing to address council? We have no one. Consent agenda, we have 4 items. Approval of minutes for December 7th, 2021. Approval of minutes December 21st, 2021. Check register for probably 12/21, right? Yes. Approval of amendment to city attorney personnel officer employment contract. And approval of purchase of ambulance Gurney and power loaders from Stryker Sales Corporation in the amount of $43,475 and 7 cents. And any associated budget transfer. Does any member of council want to remove this item from consent agenda? Is there a motion?
Movement.
Motion by Councilwoman Sendejas, second by Councilwoman Roldan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. You have one item for public hearing. Public hearing on the proposed development fees related to public safety facilities, wastewater facilities, and transportation facility development fees by TischlerBise consulting firm. Is there a motion to go into public hearing? So, the motion by Vice Mayor Villalpando.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Roldan. Also in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Martha's trying to get in, just for the record. Mayor and Council, Ben Griffin from TischlerBise should be on the Zoom call. He'll be providing the information regarding our city, current city development fees in place for the following categories: public safety, transportation, wastewater, and water, and parks and recreation. We started that implementation since last year, and he's here to continue that process as it takes several months. Ben, are you on the call?
I am. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we can.
All right, Mayor, council members, thanks for giving me some time to go over this. And actually you can go to that next slide. We've already had the adoption of the land use assumptions in IIP. During that time, we discussed the fees. So now that you've adopted the land use assumptions in IIP, you start a similar adoption process for the development fees. So tonight is the public hearing for the development fees. In 30 days, or actually on March 1st, so a little over 30 days, we'll have another hearing. And at that time, you may adopt the fees that we're going to discuss tonight and we have discussed at previous meetings. And then if you decide to adopt on March 1st, there is a 75-day waiting period before those fees become effective. And so the planned effective date, if you decide to adopt on March 1st, would be May 16th. The next slide. So again, this is just a public hearing on the fees because we've already done the land use and IIP. So the fees that you would potentially adopt at the next meeting are the updated public safety and street fees. So you can see on this slide that the proposed single family fee, so that the total or cumulative fee of parks, public safety, and streets would be $3,569, which represents an increase of $448 compared to your current fees. All right, and then on the next slide, during this, you're adopting the wastewater fees. You previously adopted the water fees, I think it was 2 years ago now. And so with the wastewater fees, again, there are 3 service areas. There's the citywide service area, and then there's that northwest service area, which includes a lift station, and the northeast area, which also includes a lift station. And so those fees range from about $1,800 to about $4,700, depending on which service area you're in. So again, this is a public hearing only on the development fees, and at the March 1st meeting, you may adopt these, if you wish. So that's the final slide that I have of the development fees. So if there are any questions or comments related to the development fees, I can answer those for you.
Are you done with your presentation?
Yeah, that's my final slide.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments from the public? Is there a motion to close public hearing? The motion by Councilwoman Sendejas. Second by Vice Mayor Villalpando. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So that's the final slide.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Ben.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Night.
We have one item, presentation, discussion of early warning wastewater treatment plant process samples, COVID-19 information, CDC guidelines. Mr. Cabrera.
Mayor and Council, as you know, in the past, over a year ago, we went into this endeavor with the University of Arizona as a Yuma County pilot project. In doing so, I started back in February of 2021. And to continue that process, that partnership continued after July, which had ended due to funding in June of 2021. And for this fiscal year, there was funding that was extended thanks to several folks who have funded and donated some funding to continue this process. And so in the last couple of weeks, obviously we've been seeing a huge onset of increase of COVID-19. The process is usually for this wastewater early warning to notify municipalities that within a 3 to 7 day period, we might see an increase in COVID cases due to this early warning, using sewage tests to get samples to make sure that we have appropriate information regarding COVID-19 and the copies of that virus per liter. Now that information, and I go back and make sure that everyone's aware that this is a sewage test, is not anything to do with the water. It's sewage testing of our lift stations and or our wastewater off on 16.5. And so doing so, if you can see on the wastewater treatment plant since inception back in February of last year, we did see minor copies and continue as far as no detection from February on through March. It continued through April, and then we start noticing on and off of increase of COVID-19. Then in July, as people coming back from vacation or what have you, we start seeing an increase from a level 1 to basically a level 2 of concern. And this past week, if I'm just going to move forward, as of last week, week before of January 10th, which we received those copies, that information from our Monday results from that Monday testing, we're at 1.195 million copies of liters per liter. And as you can see on the graph here, we've never been this high before. The results from Friday, obviously it was kind of late to put into the agenda, but on Friday's result, it did drop to 895,000 copies per liter, which is a slight increase. But we had a meeting on Friday with the task force, with Yuma County Task Force, and it shows that the discussion has been that the increase is not yet at its peak. We'll probably see at its peak here in the next couple of weeks. So there is the concern, obviously, of continuing maybe social distancing and or face masks. At least for City Hall, I did put in for staff to mandate face masks here in City Hall for staff alone. Now, it's up to mayor and council to decide otherwise. But I go back as the information that we took, or the mayor and council took back in 2020 with the declaration of public health emergency. That has not been lifted. Obviously, there is some CDC guidelines of how to protect yourself from social distancing, and now with vaccines, that has helped obviously a lot of folks from not getting really ill and ended up in the hospital. But as you can see from the CDC guidelines is, if you did get a positive and you don't have those harsh symptoms, you can come back within 5 days to work. But if you still have those coughs and fevers, obviously staying home until those results do get better, which might take another additional 5 days. But it all depends on the person and making sure that they quarantine themselves for any future outbreak. Here in City Hall, we did have probably 6 staff members being ill. We did have some at the police, fire, water, Parks and Recreation, and here at City Hall, I believe it was at the courthouse also, I think 2 people were ill as well. So it is predominantly out there. Right now, it is presumptively that it is the Omicron virus. They're not too sure yet, but most likely it is because it's a kind of fast, rapid virus that affects your upper respiratory system. But this is where we're at this point for our city, and the results thereof being still high at a level 3 of concern. Level 3 of concern meaning that everybody needs to stay home. Obviously, that's not going to happen at this point, this juncture, unless there's another emergency by the federal government and or the state. It has decreased just a slight, not much of a difference from last Friday's results. But we're still at the highest point to date. Probably by tomorrow, the results that we're taking, the samples that we're taking today will probably end up being higher, as you can see from our partners with Sunset Community Clinic and Regional Center for Border Health. There is long lines as people are testing. So it has continued. And with the great thing is that we do have our home kits for us to use. And that's the difficult part because the home test kits doesn't show as far as how many people have been, how many people actually have tested positive. So it might be higher than what's at the Yuma County office. I mean, I think today was like 1,000. That doesn't mean that it's 1,000, probably more, because the home kits people are not reporting those positive results. So this is where we're at. And I don't know if anybody has any questions or any guidance for us to give our public, and any issues for city staff to give us guidance as what you want to do as a next step, or if any.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes. Go ahead, Councilman.
Mr. Cabrera, I just have a quick question. Just out of curiosity, have you maybe thought about doing like a split schedule there at the city, to where if someone gets gets exposed, not the whole department is exposed? That way we could continue providing services. Has there been any thought on that?
Yes, I've been thinking this carefully. I just wanted to make sure that we do have at least 3 data points. Right now, there is only 2 data points, which is the one in front of you, the 1,195,000, and then the second data point that we had from Friday. So if, as of the results for tomorrow, continue to be high at that point, we do have a department head meeting tomorrow, and we'll make a decision at that point, unless Mayor gives us different guidance.
Any questions or comments?
I have one question. Those employees that are returning after the 5th day after testing positive for COVID, are we forcing them or making them wear the N95 for at least 5 days after returning to work?
We're making them wear a mask, not necessarily the N95. I know that the cloth masks don't, according to some of the articles and CDC information, the masks protect only to a certain percentage. Obviously, the N95s works a lot better. I need to verify how many masks do we have of N95s around.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
So,
Moving on to new business. Discussion of possible action to approve the lease purchase of 5 cardiac monitors at $45,624.48 from Zoll for 10 years, with 2022 being prorated to $19,011 for the final 5 months.
Chief.
He's the project manager for this, so. Originally, we placed this on the CIP at 80,000 for 2 units, and of course, the prices have changed since then. And then on top of that, the purchase wouldn't allow us to, we'd have to replace it in 5 years. Let me give you the short version of this. On average, we've been replacing our monitors about every 5 years. I arrived in 2004, and we bought 3 different sets of monitors since then. The city hasn't seen the impact because Captain Hernandez has done a fantastic job getting grant money. That grant money has since dried up. That money's not available. So we put in the CIP. The big plan was in the next CIP to put in the balance of the monitors, which is another debate. Captain Hernandez met with different companies, and Zoll is the company that everybody's using. Yuma's using them, San Luis is using them, and MCAS is using them. So it's comparable to their units. If we interact with them, all our parts are interchangeable. And so you see the numbers before you, and the 10-year cost looks big, $456,268. But the $45,624.48 a year will give us all 5 at once, and it includes all the maintenance. They take care of the maintenance, and it also includes a replacement plan, which if the technology changes, they automatically replace them, and there's no charge to us. And that's the basic gist of it. Unless you have any more questions, Catherine and others can answer some of those if you're technical.
Any questions or comments? There a motion? Motion by Councilman Roldan. Second by Councilwoman Sendejas. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Number of current events or
Yes, Mayor and Council, on Friday, I did send a text message, an email regarding the weekly report. We will be having neighborhood meetings, obviously outside, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, depending obviously on our early warning signs. But we do want to have neighborhood meetings with Mayor and Council. I did send an email regarding any of the council members wanting to work with a department head and getting that presentation ready for that specific department. I did get a response from Marta. She said she will work with Chief Juarez for her department and working on that presentation to present to neighborhood. And I believe Ms. Sendejas also replied, I think with Carmen with community development. I would love to hear from the rest. I don't know. I made an example of, I don't know if Jesus wants to work with Parks and Recreation. I guess yes. Okay. So if you would let me know whenever email, text, or what have you, to which department you would want to work with to get that presentation going and to present with council. And that is my presentation. Chief Juarez?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So our animal control officers are out this week, so we're trying to do our best and picking up any dead animals on the street. If the public has any concerns, just give us a call. We'll try to address it along with the maybe Public Works. The line to the Regional Center for Border Health continues to be long. We received some reports of people cutting in the line and maybe taking out the outside lane. We're trying to do our best as well, being out and making sure that the traffic is controlled to avoid any accidents. We're still hiring 911 dispatchers. If anyone's interested in the public, apply to Indeed. And last thing, our caucus, the caucus is going to be postponed because of the raising COVID positive. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Paul?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. We've handed out 131 self-test kits that Barry and Louis did a really good job of getting for the city so far. We're handing out quite a few each day, mostly to essential workers, mostly to the city and their employees, their families, sorry. And as you've seen, a lot of city staff, Public Works, we had 2 positives today. In fact, I was on the engine this morning. We couldn't get a part-timer. We called the part-timers. Some of the part-timers they have other jobs in the city of Yuma, city of San Luis. They were sick also. So I got stuck on the fire engine for half a day today. In any case, it's around and it's affecting the ability to staff. And so we encourage you, the public, as always, to mask up, to wash your hands, clean your work areas, all those things. This evening, we had one more accident at Avenue C at 95. So in the past, I was always complaining to the sheriffs of Avenue G. They stepped up to patrolling. Those accidents have almost disappeared on Avenue G until today. We went from that accident on Avenue G at 95 to an accident on Avenue C at 95 to an accident on G at 95. A young female on an SUV got hit by a semi. And fortunately, he was able to brake hard enough where it impacted her enough to send her to the hospital. It didn't create any major injuries. And so we're still having a lot of accidents for the amount of population that we have in South County. You've all heard I'm beating a dead horse already. But I'll be calling the sheriff to see what we can do about Avenue C in particular. That's about our 8th, I think, or 9th accident at that intersection. And it's mostly in the evenings. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Public Works?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council. An update on our Valley Vista Water Main Extension project. Contractor continues with the pipe installation from east to west. Approximately 2,400, 2,500 linear feet of pipe has been installed. An update on our Avenue F and a quarter water main extension project, which is a high school water line. Contractor completed submitting the material submittals last week. We already reviewed and approved those submittals. We're waiting on the pipe, to the site in order for us to give the notice to proceed to Yuma Valley. And other than our 1 million gallon water tank rehabilitation project, here with our consultant engineer has been scheduled for next week, this coming Thursday. We're going to go with to review the design plans and specifications in order to define the correct scope of work of the project. Thank you.
Economic development.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. For economic development, we've had several meetings for possible investors and buyers in the city of Somerton. We'd also like to share that we have opening up in sometime in February, El Buen Taquito will be coming to the city of Somerton. It will be located on Main Street and Denham Avenue, what used to be Oriental House.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council. Just want to mention that the senior center is now closed to COVID-19. Staff continues to deliver our essential service, which is the meals. They started today. Also, staff met with NEI and project manager Hector Tapia to discuss the skate park project design change order. There's going to be some features moving around, and the staircase is going to be the main addition there. Also, the Winter Youth Soccer League registration ended. We had a very good turnout with 216 participants signing up, accumulating a total of 22 teams. So hopefully we're going to be able to deliver and take our precautions. Thank you.
Finance. Sarina, you're on the call?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members. Zarina Gallegos, Finance Department. Right now, I am working on the mid-year numbers so we can be prepared for the 2023 budget, as well as our auditors will be on site at the last week of January. All Kiosk was able to update their software to include an account search through service address, so that'll help our customers who are submitting payments on our kiosk. We've had a good turnout. I believe a total of I have the number. A total of 73 payments have been submitted through the kiosk, which has been great. And that's all I have for you.
I'll speak with Carmen because actually she lost her voice here. Staff is in the process of lot split for Somerton Elementary along Main Street. And then also there is a future rezoning case for government R15 to high density for a potential multifamily development. Factum LLC started their building. Actually, today they picked up the permit for the building. They're waiting on civil for some of the issues that we're having there. And then Somerton High School construction obviously is underway, and they're working on the civil landscaping and zoning requirements as well, which also includes also Somerton Elementary. They're in the same issue, same boat. The civil. And that concludes, Mayor.
Councilman Castillo.
You know what? I just want to on those department heads, Mr. Cabrera. You can put me with economic development or finance, either or. Other than that, I mean, just hope everyone stays safe and use all the precautionary measures. That's all I have, Mayor.
Councilman Galindo?
Nothing. Thank you very much. Just stay safe and be careful of the new virus.
Councilwoman Garcia?
I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but we had a pretty good turnout with the vaccine clinic. It was over 100 this past week. The next vaccine clinic will be February 10th, same time, location 3 to 6 p.m. And I want to thank everybody who's reached out to offer condolences for my mom. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilwoman Sendejas?
Just want to iterate what Councilwoman Garcia mentioned. The vaccine event went really, really well. I want to thank Zika for her assistance for covering while we all got out of work. And there was approximately about 200 first-timers, second and booster shots. And I want to thank PD as well for their assistance. I know that Regional Center has had extremely long lines, so thank you so much. And I know you're short-staffed, but thank you very much for assisting Regional Center. And also, again, wish everyone to be safe, wearing your mask indoors. No joke, and as Gary mentioned, that the positivity rates that Yuma County are reporting are not quite accurate because there's a lot of the home tests that were given out, and those people are positive as well. And so the positivity rate continues to climb drastically. And so I just wish everyone to be safe and wear your mask.
Councilman Rolla? Vice Mayor Villalpando?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if this is the right time or the right place, but I feel that I do need to get something off my chest, especially since it was directed to all of council, including not only San Luis, but also council for the city of Somerton. Mr. Gary Snyder made a comment, and I'll read it to you, where it's in Spanish. It says, quiero promover la oportunidad de apoyar a gente que normalmente no correría por intimidación o por miedo. Los concilios, debe include Somerton, están dominados por grupos y por intereses personales y se ocupan ideas y mentalidades diferentes. With that said, I want to invite Mr. Gary Snyder to start actually attending our meetings, where it's pretty evident that we're not always on the same page. None of us have personal interests. Because believe me, I would have been screaming and hollering a long time ago. Mr. Gary Snyder obviously has no relationship or knowledge of what happens within this community, and doesn't even know us as council members or as members of the community. So his words, I find them to be a little divisive, trying to divide people in a time where we all need to come together. And with that said, I invite him to come over here and spend more than one meeting, do it year round. If you really care about the community that you want to serve as a state representative, then do it year round. Don't do it while you're running or you're trying to be elected. I take deep offense, and not only as a council member, but as a member of the community, for him to say that we have personal interests. He could go around and ask all of our staff. You'll probably all give him the answer. They never do their job. They do their job. So again, it's an invite for Mr. Snyder to educate himself instead of spreading nonsense around. Thanks, man.
For me, I just want to encourage the community to get vaccinated, take your boosters. We are seeing Somerton. we are getting infected, but we are not getting very sick. The majority of our population is vaccinated, so you can tell that at least for now, we don't have to take the extreme measures that we took when we didn't have the tool, but just use what the CDC guidelines, wash your hands, mask up when you're indoors. And at least for now, that's probably the best way to move forward. But again, I encourage vaccination, and because we know that works. We have 3 items in executive session. We're going to skip the code of ethics. That can wait. We much rather have a council in person where we can discuss, but we're going to have those other 2 items. The first item is discussion of consultation for legal advice to the Somerton City Attorney relating to annexation areas and opportunities for the city. Then the other is discuss and consult with the City Attorney and staff concerning negotiations for the purchase, sale, or lease of real property located at 498 West Main Street, Somerton, Arizona, 85370. Parkview Commerce Center consisting of 20 acres more. Is there a motion to adjourn into executive session? A motion by Vice Mayor Alvo, second by Councilwoman Sendejas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Councilmember Juan, Luis, and Martha, can you stay on the line?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to take a 5-minute break and then meeting into executive.